Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise to bring you the sharpest insights from the most compelling sources.
Hmm.
Today, we're diving deep into a topic that couldn't be more relevant: creative thinking.
Hmm.
And it's not just about, competitive advantage in your professional life.
Right.
It's a powerful skill that can truly transform your personal world, too, in really surprising ways.
Absolutely. And our guide for this deep dive is John Adair's fantastic book, The Art of Creative Thinking: How to Be Innovative and Develop Great Ideas. Adair has this really unique perspective, I think, especially with his concept of the depth
The
mind.
depth mind, yeah, that sort
Yeah,
of unconscious creative engine.
exactly. And he gives us a wonderfully practical framework for thinking more effectively.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We want to give you concrete, actionable ways to become a more creative thinker.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to explore the creative process, maybe tackle some of those invisible barriers that block new ideas,
Yeah, the things that hold us back.
help you enlarge your vision, show you how to actually build on ideas instead of just, picking them apart.
That's key. Building, not just critiquing.
Plus, we'll talk about getting more comfortable with uncertainty, which is a big one.
Oh, definitely.
And crucially, how to become more confident in yourself as a creative person. So, ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start right at the foundation of creativity. And this might feel a bit counterintuitive at first.
Mm-hmm.
Human creativity, fundamentally, doesn't just conjure things out of nothing.
Right.
Think about Henry Ford. He said, "Every man starts with all there is. Everything is here, the essence and substance of all there is."
It's a profound thought, isn't it? What the creative mind really does is see possibilities, connections in existing raw materials, things that are sort of invisible to less creative minds.
So it's about seeing differently.
Exactly. Often, being creative is just combining ideas or elements that already exist, sometimes in ways that seem totally unconnected. And, the more unlikely that combination, the greater the perceived creativity often is.
Like a painter using existing colors.
Precisely, a masterpiece by Rubens didn't start with brand new colors. It started with the mind's ability to combine perception, ideas, feelings into a fresh vision, using pigments that were already there.
Okay, so if it's about combining existing stuff, how do we get better at spotting those really unexpected connections?
Well, one really powerful method Adair talks about is using the stepping stones of analogy.
Analogy, okay.
Okay. Think about nature. It's like this incredible storehouse of models for inventors. It provides principles we can use to solve human problems.
Give me an example.
Well, radar, famously, was inspired by bats using reflected sound waves.
Right, echolocation.
Exactly. Or aircraft cargo doors. The design cues came from how a clamshell opens.
Huh, I never knew that.
Even like cigarette packaging, with that little tear strip that was apparently suggested by a pea pod.
A pea pod.
You know,
Seriously,
It's like nature's already done the R&D for us sometimes.
that's amazing. And these analogies can stretch pretty far, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. Take Soichiro Honda, the
Uh-huh.
engineer.
Mm-hmm. Honda motorcycles.
Right. When he was designing his first four-cylinder bike, he thought it looked, well, squat and ugly. Then, during a break in Kyoto, he sees this Buddha statue, and he's captivated by the face.
The Buddha's face.
Yeah. He saw a resemblance between its sort of serene, harmonious look and how he wanted the front of his motorcycle to look.
Wow, okay.
And that led him and his designers to create this much more balanced, beautiful style. That's what Adair calls a wide span of analogy, drawing connections from totally different domains.
That connects to this other idea too, doesn't it? This idea of making things strange.
Yes. Making the strange familiar and the familiar strange.
Explain that a bit. Making the strange familiar seems obvious, like,
Like when people first saw an airplane and called it the big bird, they're comparing the new thing to something they know, making it familiar.
right. But making the familiar strange, how does that work?
That's the bit that really restarts the engines of your minds, as Adair puts it. Think about a chemistry professor who suddenly sees leadership as being like a catalyst.
Okay. Speeding things up without getting used up itself.
Exactly. It forces you to look at something incredibly ordinary, like leadership, with completely fresh eyes. We stop thinking about familiar things. Making them seem odd forces us to look again.
And that's where the insights pop up, like Jethro Tull and his seed drill.
Yeah, inspired by the principle of the organ, completely different field.
And you shared that list of inventors.
Hmm.
The sculptor inventing the ballpoint pen.
The vet inventing the pneumatic tire, the Kodachrome film.
Right.
Their main jobs were totally removed from their inventions.
Which is so counterintuitive. You'd think expertise is key.
Yeah.
So is like not knowing too much sometimes an advantage? How do experts avoid getting stuck in their knowledge?
That's a great question. It's not about ditching your expertise. Disraeli said we must learn to unlearn, right? Deep knowledge can create mental ruts. The trick is recognizing that.
So how do you unlearn?
It's about actively seeking diverse inputs, forcing connections, building on what William Plummer called the power to connect the seemingly unconnected, linking thoughts, things, expressions that seem totally different, like a chef combining weird ingredients or a physicist borrowing from biology. You consciously build a bigger connection library in your head.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about luck, or what looks like luck.
Ah, serendipity.
Exactly. Practicing serendipity, Horace Walpole's term for making unexpected and delightful discoveries by accident.
Like Columbus stumbling on the Americas.
When he was looking for Asia,
Right.
or Edison finding the mimeograph process by accident, it just feels like pure chance, doesn't it?
Well, yes and no. While it looks like chance, the crucial part Adair stresses is that the finder must be able to see the creative possibilities in that accident.
Ah, okay, so it's not just luck.
Not entirely. And being too rigid, too over-organized can actually work against this. It's inimical to creativity, he says.
So a bit of chaos is good.
Sometimes, as A. Milne said, chaos often breeds ideas. You need that wide span of attention, an open mind ready to notice something significant, even if it seems irrelevant at first.
Which brings us neatly to Louis Pasteur's famous line.
Chance favors only the prepared mind. Absolutely key.
This isn't just about happy accidents, it's about the work you've already put in, the preparation.
Think about Sir Alistair Pilkington. He got the idea for the float glass process, revolutionized glass making while doing the washing up.
At his kitchen sink.
Seriously. Yep. Or Sir Alexander Fleming and penicillin. That mold grew on a culture plate he hadn't cleaned properly before a vacation.
Okay, maybe a bit of untidiness helps though.
Or Charles Goodyear and vulcanizing rubber. That happened because of a spillage on a hot stove.
But these were just random events hitting unprepared people.
Exactly. Goodyear himself said they weren't mere accidents. They were the result of the closest application and observation. You need sensitivity, sharp observation, imaginative thinking, and crucially, that open mind and a degree of curiosity to interpret the clues, to ask what if about the unexpected.
Okay, so let's talk about cultivating that inner landscape, starting with curiosity. Samuel Johnson called it a key trait of a vigorous intellect.
Essential.
You mentioned Napoleon being intensely curious even after Waterloo, and Einstein always insisting not to stop questioning. It really is the engine, isn't it?
It truly is. But it's a true curiosity, that eager desire to learn and know, not just being nosy.
Right, not prying.
It's this disinterested intellectual appetite. And it can become a habit. Leonardo da Vinci's motto was just, I question. Simple as that.
And inventors like Sir Clive Sinclair, you said they emphasize learning across lots of different subjects.
Yeah, Sinclair said an inventor has got to know about a lot of different subjects in different ways. It's about building this broad internal database of knowledge you can draw connections from.
And building that database also involves keeping your eyes open, really seeing the world.
Like the painter Graham Sutherland trying to capture the atmosphere and essence of people.
Or Laurence Olivier being a scavenger for character details.
Yeah.
You mentioned he borrowed a nose.
From producer Jed Harris. And bits from The Big Bad Wolf, even Hitler's Jig. He stored these details for years sometimes, waiting for the right role.
Wow, that's dedication to observation.
It shows that observation is a skill. It's like Sherlock Holmes telling Watson, you see, but you do not observe.
There's a difference.
A huge difference. John Ruskin said, to see clearly is poetry, prophecy, and religion all in one. He thought drawing or sketching was powerful training for this.
Because it forces you to look closely.
Forces you to select, to analyze. It etches the scene in your memory. It's not about being a great artist. It's about the act of observing.
Okay, so we need to see better. What about listening? Listening for ideas.
Yeah, Adair brings up that exchange in Shakespeare, Falstaff having the malady of not marking, not paying attention.
Right, and Lord Roy Thompson of Fleet, the Canadian entrepreneur.
He made it a policy to always be accessible, always listen for ideas, even from strangers. He figured, everyone has an idea, and one in a dozen may be a good idea. You just have to listen.
So what makes someone a good listener in this context?
Adair suggests things like childlike curiosity, keeping an open mind, and crucially controlling your own analytical and critical urges. initially.
So don't jump to judge.
Exactly. Fully grasp what's being said first before you evaluate it. Peter Drucker famously said his strength as a consultant was to be ignorant and ask a few questions.
Just try to understand.
Right. Achieve a clear grasp of the nature and significance of what's being said, not just prep your counter argument.
Okay, we talked seeing, listening. What about reading? How can reading generate ideas, not just, fill time?
It's how you read. Charles Lamb loved losing myself in other men's minds. Fiction, as John Fowle said, encourages reader involvement, freeing your imagination.
And Francis Bacon's advice.
About digesting books, not just swallowing them whole. He said, one page properly digested is worth more than a whole volume skimmed. Let the ideas sink in, mingle with your own thoughts.
And reading can uncover some surprising history too, right? Relevant stuff.
Absolutely, like finding out Solomon's temple had lightning rods, or Nero had a coin in the slot machine,
Wow.
or that the Chinese used digitalis centuries before the West. It just broadens your mental map of what's possible, what connections can be made across time and fields.
It expands the raw materials.
Precisely. And Darwin, not just a scientist, he loved arts too, advised reading poetry, listening to music regularly, to keep the emotional, imaginative parts of the brain active, keep the whole mind working.
Okay, final piece for cultivating the inner landscape. Keeping a notebook. Adair calls it vitally important.
Yeah. Remember Lewis Carroll's Queen advising Alice to make a memorandum?
And Berlioz, the composer, being tormented by great ideas he forgot because he didn't write them down. They just vanished.
So practical tips.
Keep a pad and pencil by your bed. Carry a pocket notebook. And don't overthink it. Let your instinct guide what you jot down. Even fragments.
Why is it so powerful?
The notebook becomes like a kaleidoscope, a place to play with ideas, see new combinations, new interconnections. It helps you meditate on things, make them part of you, and capture those fleeting thoughts. Bake in again. Those that come unsought are commonly the most valuable and should be secured because they seldom return.
Grab them while you can.
Exactly.
All right, let's move into harnessing this depth mind and tackling obstacles. First up, testing your assumptions.
Crucial.
Einstein's thought experiment about riding a sunbeam is a classic example. Led to general relativity.
And Isaac Newton believed in making bold guesses, but the real challenge is identifying our own assumptions, especially the unconscious ones.
How do we even spot those, the ones we don't know we have? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Adair distinguishes conscious assumptions from unconscious assumptions or preconceptions. Those are like hidden sandbanks.
Dangerous.
Very. Louis Pasteur said preconceived ideas can be like searchlights, guiding us, which is good, but they become dangerous fixed ideas if we cling to them too tightly. They blind us.
So we need to be willing to question our framework.
Yeah. Goethe saw daring ideas are like chessmen moved forward. Even if they get beaten, they might open up a winning game. You have to be willing to challenge your own thinking.
Which brings us to Adair's core idea. Make better use of your depth mind. He's clear it's not just left brain, right brain stuff, right? It's deeper.
Right. It's about the mind's ability to analyze, synthesize, and value, operating at a deeper, often unconscious level, that unmapped country within us.
So how do we access this internal workshop?
Adair describes it as a workshop, or even a womb where creative combinations happen, often mixing unlikely elements below the surface of our awareness.
Like composers hearing music.
Yeah. Tchaikovsky described this uninterrupted activity in his brain, processing musical ideas on its own. C.S. Forester, the novelist, felt his subconscious fed him plots like little shipworms working away.
Wow.
E.M. Forster put it beautifully. In the creative state, a man is taken out of himself. He lets down, as it were, a bucket into his subconscious and draws up something which is normally beyond his reach.
So the goal is to create conditions to let that bucket down.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but,
Don't just sit around waiting for the bucket to fill itself.
precisely. Challenge that idea of passively waiting for inspiration.
Like that Shakespeare exchange. Glendower says he can call spirits.
And Hotspur snaps back, why so can I, but will they come when you do call for them? You can't just summon it on demand without effort.
And writers like Graham Greene, Leslie Thomas, they had routines.
Strict routines. They knew you couldn't wait for inspiration. You'd never write anything. Edison's famous line really hammers it home. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
So just grind it out then.
Not just grinding. Goethe had a gentler image. He said thoughts must come like good children of God and cry, here we are. But they don't come totally unsought. You put in the effort, the perspiration, and then sometimes the ideas come sauntering in with their hands in their pockets.
Ah, okay. Like James Watt in the steam engine.
Exactly. He struggled for 2 years, then the solution hit him while he was out for a walk. The previous effort primed his mind.
And the Watt provided the space.
The mental quiet, the silence and solitude Robert Frost talked about. So, inspiration, like chance, really does favor the prepared mind. Persistent effort plus periods of quiet.
Okay, preparation done, depth mind, hopefully stirring. What's next? Sharpening your analytical skills.
Right. Analysis is still crucial. Lord Rothschild distinguished analysis from synthesis, seeing synthesis bringing things together as a higher order, but analysis lays the groundwork.
And Graham Wallace's 4 phases: preparation, incubation.
Illumination and verification. It's a useful model, but people often assume it's neat and linear. It's usually not.
Where do people get stuck? Or misunderstand it?
Often, I think, it's in the very first step, or maybe just before it. Redefining the problem.
How so?
Well, think of Edward Jenner. He didn't just ask why people got smallpox. He shifted to ask why dairymaids didn't. That reframing led to vaccination.
Ah, changing the question.
Exactly. Or that cheetah analogy Adair uses. 2 guys, cheetah appears. One starts putting on running shoes. The other says, you can't outrun a cheetah.
The first guy says,
I don't have to outrun the cheetah. I only have to outrun you. He redefined the problem. It stresses needing clarity of thought, letting the problem speak to you, looking for clues objectively. Many get stuck on the initial, obvious framing.
okay, so we've analyzed, maybe reframed, ideas start bubbling up. Now comes a really critical step: suspending judgment.
Oh, yeah. This is tough but vital.
Schiller said in The Creative Mind, the intellect has withdrawn its guards from the gates. Ideas rush in, and only then does the intellect review them.
If you criticize too early, it's like a cold white frost, Adair says. Kills off those delicate new shoots.
And environments can be tough on this, even universities.
Sometimes, yeah. Places that value critical analysis above all else can inadvertently stifle raw originality if judgment comes too soon.
So how do we practice suspending judgment internally?
Think of it as creating a temporary barrier. Let the generating part of your mind work freely before the evaluation part kicks in, like brainstorming. No bad ideas initially. Apply that inside your own head. And be smart about when you expose fragile ideas to others' criticism, too. Know when to protect them and when to seek constructive feedback.
This feels linked to the next point: learning to tolerate ambiguity.
Definitely.
John Keats called it negative capability. Being okay with uncertainty, doubt, obscurity without irritably reaching after fact and reason.
It takes courage.
It does. Because uncertainty can feel paralyzing.
Yeah.
How do we build that tolerance, that intellectual courage, without just feeling lost? You mentioned Daniel Boone.
Right. He said he was bewildered for 3 days once, but never lost.
What's the difference?
Being bewildered suggests you're still exploring, open to possibilities, even if the path isn't clear. Being lost implies you've given up finding a path. Adair emphasizes that uncertainty, complexity, and apparent disorder are often the very conditions that produce the best results.
So embrace the messiness.
Embrace the messiness. It requires intellectual courage and huge patience. Think of the bee visiting 56,000 clover heads for 1 pound of honey.
Wow.
Voltaire said, doubt is not a pleasant mental state, but certainty is a ridiculous one. Have faith that clarity will emerge if you keep exploring.
Okay, so after all that prep and tolerating ambiguity, sometimes the best approach is to do nothing. Drift, wait, and obey.
It sounds passive, but it's about allowing the depth mind space to work after you've loaded it up.
H.E. Bates talked about stories mysteriously growing from small things.
And composer George Benjamin described his mind subconsciously sorting things out for weeks before the music comes pouring out. You trust the process.
And physical activity can help here.
Yeah, things like walking, driving, showering, activities that occupy the body but let the mind wander. That's often when those depth mind printouts arrive.
Because everything connects to everything else, as Leonardo said.
Right. Your mind is making connections below the surface, and they pop up when the conscious mind is in neutral.
And sometimes the depth mind works best when we're completely unconscious, sleeping on the problem.
A classic technique, Leonardo did it. The Singer sewing machine needle design came from a dream about spears with holes near the tips.
Spears.
That's wild.
And Sir Basil Spence, architect of Coventry Cathedral. He got key ideas from a dream and also from looking closely at a fly's eye in a magazine.
A fly's eye. Okay, so how do we make sleep work for us creatively?
Adair suggests you actively program your depth mind before sleep. Think intently about the problem you're trying to solve just before you drift off.
And keep that notebook handy.
Absolutely critical. Pad and pencil by the bedside, those ideas that surface upon waking or even during the night are often fleeting or half-formed. You have to capture them immediately. Bacon's advice again, grab them because they seldom return.
Don't let those fragile insights escape.
Okay, but ideas, even brilliant ones captured in a notebook, aren't enough, are they? Then you have to actually do something.
Right. Then comes working it out. Creative thinking, Adair stresses, includes bringing the idea into existence.
Like Leonardo wasn't just an ideas guy. He had the skill to make models, draw detailed plans.
Even when the tech didn't exist yet, Sir Hugh Weldon, the TV producer, said, "Programs are made in the making. You can't just have the idea, you have to work it out."
And that working it out part, it can be messy, right? Like my kitchen after a cooking experiment.
Huh. Excellent analogy. Adair acknowledges this process is often untidy, even chaotic. It goes against wanting finished ideas before you start.
So how do we embrace that chaos, especially if we like neat plans?
Remember John Hunter's advice to Jenner. Don't think, try it. Be patient, be accurate. You have to commit to the messy middle. It involves frustration and despair, Adair admits, but also those amazing moments of exaltation when it finally clicks. Trust the iterative process. Try, fail, learn, try again.
Okay, let's bring it all together now. How do we apply all this, not just to projects, but to our lives? Think creatively about your life.
This is really powerful, seeing your life as an unfinished creation.
Henry Miller's idea. You're writing the book of your own life, not following some pre-recorded script.
It's incredibly liberating, isn't it? It pushes you towards self-discovery, finding your unique strengths, seeing life as an adventure.
And that weaver, Theo Mormon.
She talked about that comeback feeling in one's gut when the work is going well, feeling prized above rubies. It's about finding that alignment in your life. Ultimately, Adair suggests the creative response to life's challenges is to transform bad things into good, problems into opportunities. Active shaping, not passive acceptance.
Wow, what a journey we've taken through the art of creative thinking. We started with embracing that creativity builds on what's already here.
Learning to use analogy, broaden our perspectives.
Then practicing serendipity, the prepared mind. Cultivating that inner landscape, curiosity, observation.
Listening, reading, keeping that vital notebook.
Then harnessing the depth mind, testing assumptions, sharpening analysis.
Suspending judgment, tolerating ambiguity, crucial skills.
Letting ideas drift, sleeping on problems, and then, finally, the hard work of working it out.
Bringing ideas into the real world.
And these really aren't just abstract concepts, are they? These are practical, powerful tools for your life.
Tools to transform challenges, see opportunities.
And really view your own existence as this continuous, maybe sometimes messy, but exhilarating act of creation.
Exactly. And maybe to leave you with a final thought to chew on, consider this Arab proverb: you should never finish building your house.
Never finish building your house. What does that really mean for your own creative journey, for your life?
Maybe it's an invitation.
An invitation to embrace beginnings, the unfinished work, the constant process.
The continuous, maybe sometimes frustrating, but ultimately exhilarating process of creation itself. Keep building.